I, 30 female, opened my own business last year. I was bedridden, tough pregnancy, and had zero income, and I wanted to do something. My husband at the time told me I was wasting my time, that it was nothing but a pipe dream, and that I was wasting money. It caused a lot of fights in the beginning, but I stuck it out because I believed in myself and didn't give myself the ability to fail. My kids even joined in with me. 3 kids from my previous marriage plus an infant with my husband. But yeah, he didn't believe in me at all. He just saw me as wasting money. We have separate bank accounts and all of my products are kept in an indoor storage unit. So my husband has never seen my products or known how much money I've brought them. I've been paying my portion of the bills and not explaining what I've been doing. I honestly, as childish as it may be, wanted to wait until I had a bucket load of profit and then show him. That way he felt bad for all those fights he picked with me over wasting money. But anyway, since I started the business, I have a profit so far of $34,000. I've only lost out so far on $5,000 worth of product. Considering I started with a measly $500, I'm very impressed and proud. I promote mainly on TikTok and have my business account there. Well, my husband found the business account on TikTok and saw I had a huge following. He started asking questions and eventually it got to him asking how much I'd made. Well, I went over the numbers with him and now he's super interested in what I'm doing and tries coming with me and the kids on the weekends to do inventory and shipments. Now, I'm willing to admit that I'm just getting tapped out by his presence within my business, because now he's trying to get me to buy things that he likes, different from what the general consumer does. He's trying to change how I do things by suggesting that would be easier. He's always right in the way and he's just stressing me out. And now he's saying he wants to join in and use my TikTok account to promote the things he buys, which he wants me to do because he hates being on camera. I feel bad because I know it would be a way for us to connect over something profitable, but I just don't want to. My kids and I started from scratch and he picked massive fights with me over this, but now that he sees I'm making money, he wants to use what I built without him so he can make money off of it. So I told him he needed to do his own thing, start from scratch like I did. Learn as I did because I don't want him involved in what my kids and I built. Especially not after picking all those fights with me and making me feel stupid without an apology until I mentioned it to him. He says I'm blowing this out of proportion and that he just wants to be involved. He says he won't apologize for his doubts and I should understand. But now that I've proven him wrong, I should be willing to cut him in on it because it can be a family thing. I don't want him to. This is my and my kids' thing and I don't want him taking over or having any say on how we do things, which I know will happen. Edit, my money started the business and only my money went into it. He didn't help at all. He's the man of the house, he decides. Ha ha ha. He wants in on it because it's making money. There are other things you can do together. Good for you, not the idiot. You started this and you ran this. It's completely fair and reasonable to want your business to be your space so you can handle how you prefer. It would be completely fine even without him picking on you about it. Stick to your guns. This behavior should concern you, OP. When you were just starting out and all you had was $500 and an idea, he didn't prop you up. He wasn't your hype man. He tried to tell you it was a waste of time, a pipe dream, a waste of money. Now that you're successful, he wants to hop right in and won't even admit the mistake he made of discouraging you in the first place. Congratulations on the great success of your business. I would seriously look into putting the business in one of your older children's names if you can trust them, or get a post-nup to protect your business in case of divorce. Yes, divorce is probably in the future and it won't even be sad when it happens. It will be a relief for OP. He just wants to reconnect with her money and success. 100% he would just be making fun of her if this had failed or if she'd only made $5,000 profit or something. OP needs to buy her husband a used copy of The Little Red Hen to read. This is exactly the same idea. Lazy bums don't want to contribute until the bread is already baked. My daughter and my niece both started high school this year. They both attend the best high school in our town. My daughter is extremely smart and very popular at school. She's friends with almost everyone in her class. My niece, on the other hand, is not that smart. She struggles with simple tasks and she has no friends. A few days ago, my brother called me and asked me to change my daughter's school because kids have been making fun of my niece and calling her the stupid one while they call my daughter the smart one. He claims that his daughter never had this kind of problem and it started when my daughter started to attend the same school as her because everyone is comparing them now since they're cousins. He also claims that it's my daughter's fault because the kids who do this are her friends. I told him I wasn't changing my daughter's school and this was not my problem. My daughter is friends with almost everyone and she can't be expected to control everyone's actions since my daughter is very clearly smarter and is thriving in this school while his daughter is struggling, and also because his daughter doesn't have any friends there anyway, then she should be the one to go to a new school. He thinks I'm being an idiot. So, am I? You are the idiot because you got major blinders on. Your niece wasn't bullied before your daughter got there. Now she is. Something happened. The bullying comments you make in the privacy of your home somehow end up flying around your daughter's school. And you're self-absorbed enough to think that this is just confirmation that everybody sees what you see, that your daughter is perfect and your niece is a dunce. But people's perceptions didn't suddenly get better. The stars didn't align. Your daughter said something, maybe a lot of somethings. Popularity is rarely a sign of innate goodness. You need to stop slandering your poor niece and open your eyes to the fact that you and your daughter probably catalyzed this whole thing because you're lacking in class and empathy. You're so gleeful in this story, so transparently boastful. Did Regina George grow up and have a daughter? This is the right answer. OP's daughter doesn't need to change schools. That's not the solution. But OP needs to look seriously at what's really happening. The fact that the kid's allegedly picking on OP's niece or daughter's friends makes it unlikely that the daughter is not involved in some capacity. At the absolute least, OP needs to speak to his daughter about how you respond to bullies in your social circle and ensure her daughter isn't getting involved in bullying. And you're right about OP's tone. It speaks volumes, and I'm inclined to believe the daughter is on a pedestal here. My teen dad got married to Eve last year. Eve has 2 kids. Her son is a preschooler now and her daughter is a toddler. There's a lot of deep stuff in Eve's background and the kids with their paternal side of the family. But they had nobody other than Eve until my dad and Eve met. Once they got married, my dad adopted them. Then my dad's relatives didn't want the kids to be treated the same as the rest of the grandkids and told Dad they would never mean as much to them as the rest of the Bio family would, so he told them to get lost and cut ties with them. When all 3 other sides, Dad's, Eve's and the kids' paternal side, were not in the picture, Dad asked my mom's family, my mom died when I was 2, if they would embrace my siblings as family and treat them the way they would me because they were now my siblings and my family. I loved them, so it was important for me to see them being embraced by my family. My family asked me if what Dad said was true, and I told them it wasn't. I said I hardly even knew the kids, let alone loved them. My family told my dad they would never see my step-siblings as their grandkids. I should also make clear that my dad and maternal family did not remain close or like family after my mom died. I still saw my family, but Dad was never involved, and he would go to his own family when I was with mine. I never liked my dad's family, so it was never a huge deal to me to not see them, and it's not a huge deal not to have them around at all. They were always really annoying about how girly I am, and they could never believe I would want to have a manly job when I graduate. Eve was pretty depressed when she realized she hadn't made her kids' family all that much bigger and that they'd been rejected even more. So Dad decided that we would be the tightest little unit and we would all choose each other, so they would know they were chosen and loved despite all the rejection. My dad decided that for this to work fully, I should let Eve adopt me. I refused without hearing anything else, and I told him Eve would never adopt me, and I don't care how much of a nice story it paints for her kids, because I'm not doing that for them. He told me they were little, and Eve said it would mean so much to them. Dad told me a part of being a big sibling is putting the younger kids first. I told him the kids would never be my priority, and I would never go out of my way for them like that. Dad offered a compromise instead of me writing and signing a contract saying I would always be their big brother, and I was so lucky to choose 2 awesome siblings, which I also said no to. Then the adoption stuff was pushed more. Eve tried telling me I would still be able to call her Eve most of the time, but just to call her mom in front of her kids. Dad told me I was being selfish for refusing to do this and reiterated that the kids should be our priority. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. What a mess, OP. I'm sorry you've been dragged into this. Just because your dad and Eve want to play happy families and pretend everything is peachy doesn't mean you have to play along. You have a right to say no, and they should respect that. It sounds like all your dad cares about is outside appearances, rather than actually trying to fix the issues. Adoption will make Eve happy, not the kids. The kids are small, they'll be satisfied with just your dad and Eve being there for them and giving them a safe and loving environment. There's no need for an extended family for the kids to be happy. It's Eve's desire stemming from whatever issues she has. And more idiot of your dad to go along with this misguided plan instead of getting Eve to therapy. The irony is that insisting on these immediate, deep connections has destroyed the possibility of those connections ever forming naturally. Repeat to your father that you will never let Eve adopt you and that the bullying from both of them is pushing you further and further away. Dad and Eve need therapy. It's entirely unhinged to ask your late family, out of the blue, to help raise these kids. I, 31 female, got married last year and wore my mom's wedding veil to include her on my special day. She passed away a few years ago, and when we went through her stuff, we found her wedding dress and wedding veil, amongst some other possessions. She was my stepmom, but my dad married her when I was 3, and growing up she'd always been my mom. My dad and she had my half-sister, Annie, nearly adult. We have a big age gap, so Annie and I aren't super close, but when we discovered our mom's wedding stuff, Annie said she wanted the dress, and I said I'd take the veil then. My friend Lily, who came to my wedding, was getting married soon and asked me if she could borrow my veil, as they're getting married on a tight budget and she likes mine, but it's not in her price range. As the veil is mine and not Annie's, I didn't ask her and lent it to Lily. After the wedding, Lily posted pictures of her and the bridesmaids, including me, and I reposted it on my social media. Annie called me and blew up at me on the phone. She recognized the veil and said it was her mom's stuff, not my mum's, and I shouldn't have lent it out without asking her. I hung up on her. In hindsight, I could have handled the phone call a bit better and I should have at least informed Annie, but when she pointed out that my mom was my stepmom and her actual mom, I got upset. Not the idiot. You split the stuff between the two of you. It was your veil and you could use it however you saw fit. Just the same way your sister could wear the wedding dress how she saw fit. I would guess that your sister is still grieving your mom's death, which likely explains her visceral reaction. I hope she can approach her grief in healthier ways moving forward. You are the idiot for me. Shirt one will give to one friend and then another. At least from the sister's perspective, which may be unfair or a snap judgment, but she's also a teen and navigating grief around a major loss. She shouldn't have taken it if it had this little meaning to her. My property, my rights may be legally valid, but will rarely get you far in any relationship. In fact, it's a great way to ruin the closest ones. Last year, my friend and I ticketed for Taylor Swift. She got us tickets in the front of the second level for day 1, and I got us good floor seats for day 4. We're both university students. I babysat to earn money and work for my uncle once a week. Last week, the keyboard on my laptop stopped working just 6 weeks after my warranty expired. I took it to Apple and they said it needs to be replaced. It'll cost about $1,000 to fix it as it's out of warranty. For that, I might as well just pay a few $100s more and buy a new one, as there are a couple of other issues with it, notably an annoying crack in the screen from when I tripped over holding it. I've decided to sell my floor ticket and go on the first day. I will get at least $2,500 from selling it due to how close it is, which is more than enough to cover the laptop, and I can put the rest into my savings account to have some savings handy in my account. This will be helpful for me for times when I need to babysit less because I'm busy during exam periods. My oldest sister is 10 years older and a lawyer. She was unable to get tickets. When she found out I was selling mine, she got angry. I didn't offer it to her for face value. Face value is not even going to pay half of a new laptop. She said I was being scummy by buying tickets to sell for more. That was not my intention. I'm upset to have to sell the ticket, but our parents are not well off, and I really need a working laptop for my studies. I wouldn't be selling the ticket if the keyboard didn't stop working. I'm only doing it out of necessity because I need this laptop for university. She said I should get a cheaper brand than Apple instead of scalping, but everything is interlinked with my iPhone and Apple Calendar, and I really don't like Windows OS and want to be stuck with it for years. I plan to buy an extended warranty this time and keep it for 3 years if possible. I said if she bought me a new laptop with an extended warranty, she could have the ticket, but she refused. It was unfair, so I planned to sell it. But she keeps putting up stories on Instagram about how I'm a trashy, scammy scalper, so I don't know if I'm being a jerk. I didn't buy the ticket with the intention of reselling it. I'm selling it because something crappy happened and I need the money for my studies. Not the idiot. Your sister has no right to demand you sell it at face value. She's just spewing poison because she's butthurt not being able to score the tickets herself, and because she's trying to manipulate and guilt you into giving them to her for a price that she cannot find in the market. She keeps putting up stories on Instagram about how I'm a trashy, scammy scalper. Your fully grown adult lawyer sister is doing this? Really? That's not scalping. But I have to say, aiming to keep a laptop for 3 years? Dude, if you run through them so that 3 years seems challenging, you should change to a cheaper model. I'm not going to go into the environmental impact rant, but believe me, I'm thinking it hard.